When Mr. Emmanuel came to her stall, she hesitated before speaking. "I've been thinking about your offer," she said slowly, "but I'm not sure if I can accept. I've been doing everything on my own for so long. What if something goes wrong?" Mr. Emmanuel smiled slowly. "Nothing will go wrong, Sharon. I'll be with you every step of the way. We can start small. How about I help you buy better ingredients first? Your pancakes are already the best in town, but with higher ingredients, you can sell them for more and make more and more money." Sharon nodded slowly. "Okay, that sounds like a good idea, but why are you helping me? What do you get from this?" Mr. Emmanuel's smile faded slightly, and his eyes softened. "I see something in you, Sharon. You're strong, and you've been through a lot. I just want to help because, well, maybe I care about you than I should." In the busy town of Kampala, there lived a woman named Sharon. She had 3 children, Mark, Sarah, and baby Ruth. Sharon was a kind and hardworking mother, but life wasn't easy for her. Every morning, she would wake up early, make delicious pancakes, and walk to the market to sell them. Her children would help her set up a little stall, and people in the market loved her pancakes. Sharon wasn't rich. In fact, she was very poor, and the small money she made from selling pancakes was just enough to buy food for her children. But even though life was tough, Sharon always had a smile on her face. Her children loved her, and she loved them even more. She was happy as long as they were together. However, Sharon had one big sadness in her heart. Her husband, Jacob, had left her. He didn't like that she wasn't educated and that she sold pancakes to make money. One day, he just packed his bags and left. He didn't even say goodbye to his children. He found a new wife who was rich and left Sharon alone. But Sharon didn't give up. She knew she had to stay strong for her children. Every day, she prayed for a better life. Little did she know her life was about to change forever. One sunny morning, Sharon was setting up her stall as usual. She placed the pancakes neatly on the small table and waited for customers to come. As the market became busier, a man in a nice suit stopped by her stall. His name was Mr. Emmanuel. He was a rich businessman who lived in a big house on the other side of the town. Mr. Emmanuel smiled kindly at Sharon and brought some pancakes. He took one bite and his eyes lit up. "These are the best pancakes I ever tasted," he said. Sharon blushed and thanked him. From that day, Mr. Emmanuel came to Sharon's store every morning. He would always buy pancakes and chat with her for a while. Sharon noticed that he was different from other customers. He wasn't just buying pancakes, he seemed to really care about her and her children. He would ask her how her day was going, how her kids were doing in school, and even give her advice about life. Sharon felt something special whenever he came by, but she tried to push those feelings aside. "He's a rich man," she thought. "I'm just a poor woman selling pancakes." But deep down, she couldn't help but wonder why a man like him would care so much about someone like her. One rainy afternoon, just as Sharon was about to pack her stall, she saw a familiar figure walking towards her. It was Jacob, her husband, who left her many years ago. Sharon's heart sank. What was he doing back here? Jacob walked up to Sharon with a smirk on his face. "I see you're still selling pancakes," he said, his voice cold. "I came to check if you've learned anything since I left." Sharon stood tall, her hands trembling slightly. "I may be selling pancakes, "But I'm taking care of my children, Jacob," she replied firmly. "That's what matters to me." Jacob laughed and looked around the market. "Well, I've come to tell you that my new wife is expecting a baby, and I wanted you to know that I'm living a good life now." Sharon's heart hurt, but she didn't let him see her pain. She had moved on, even if he hadn't. "I'm happy for you, Jacob," she said, her voice steady. "Now, if you excuse me, I have work to do." Jacob left without another word, but his visit stayed in Sharon's mind. She wondered if life would ever get better for her and her children. But she didn't know that a new chapter was about to begin, a new chapter that would change everything. Days passed, and Mr. Emmanuel continued to visit Sharon's pancake store every morning. He was always kind, always polite, and Sharon grew more comfortable around him. Her children started calling him Uncle Emmanuel, and he even brought small gifts for them, like toys and sweets. Sharon couldn't believe how much he cared for her little family. One day, after Mr. Emmanuel brought his pancakes, he stayed longer than usual. He looked at Sharon with a serious expression and said, "Sharon, you're an amazing woman. You work so hard and you take care of your children with so much love. I want to help you." Sharon blinked in surprise. "Help me? How?" Mr. Emmanuel took a deep breath. "I've been thinking about it for a while now. I see how difficult life is for you, and I want to make things easier. But how about I invest in your pancake business? You would make more pancakes, hire more people, and even open a small shop." Sharon was speechless. No one had ever offered her something so big before. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "You don't have to decide now," Mr. Emmanuel said gently. "Think about it. I just want you and your children to have a better life." That night, as Sharon lay in bed, she couldn't stop thinking about Mr. Emmanuel's offer. It seemed too good to be true. Why would a rich man like him care so much about her? Could she trust him? The next morning, Sharon went to the market as usual, but her mind was elsewhere. She thought about Mr. Emmanuel's offer the entire time she was making pancakes. Her hands worked on autopilot, flipping the butter while her thoughts raced. When Mr. Emmanuel came to her stall, she hesitated before speaking. "I've been thinking about your offer," she said slowly, "but I'm not sure if I can accept. I've been doing everything on my own for so long. What if something goes wrong?" Mr. Emmanuel smiled warmly. "Nothing will go wrong, Sharon. I'll be with you every step of the way. We can even start small. How about I help you buy better ingredients fast? Your pancakes are already the best in town, but with higher ingredients, you can sell them for more and make more money." Sharon nodded slowly. "Okay, that sounds like a good idea. But why are you helping me? What do you get from this?" Mr. Emmanuel's smile faded slightly, and his eyes softened. "I see something in you, Sharon. You're strong and you've been through a lot. I just want to help because, maybe I care about you more than I should." Sharon's heart skipped a bit. Could he really have feelings for her? But before she could say anything, Mr. Emmanuel stood up and said, "Think about it some more. I'll be here whenever you're ready." Sharon watched him walk away, her thoughts swirling with confusion and hope. Was this the beginning of something more? Maybe. If you've not yet subscribed to this channel, kindly subscribe and leave something in the comment section. And for my returning viewer, I thank you so much for always coming back. And for my new viewer, you are most welcome to this platform. A week later, Sharon finally made up her mind. She approached Mr. Emmanuel as he was buying his pancakes and said, "I've thought about it and I'm ready to accept your help. Let's start small, like you said, with the ingredients." Mr. Emmanuel's face lit up. "I'm so happy you said yes, Sharon. Trust me, this is going to be a start of something amazing." True to his word, Mr. Emmanuel helped Sharon buy better ingredients. The flour that was softer, sugar that was sweeter, and even a new frying pan to make the pans even better. Soon, Sharon's pancakes were selling faster than ever. People all over Kampala came to taste her famous pancakes. Her income increased, and for the first time in years, Sharon could afford to buy new clothes for her children, better food for the house, and even save a little money. She was amazed at how quickly things were changing. But something else was changing too: her feelings for Mr. Emmanuel. She found herself looking forward to his visits more than ever, and her heart raced every time he smiled at her. But she couldn't forget what happened with Jacob. She had been hurt before, and she wasn't sure if she could trust her heart again. Little did she know things were about to get even more complicated. One late afternoon, as Sharon was preparing to close her stall, she saw a figure standing at the edge of the market. It was a woman, dressed in a fine cloth, with a certain look on her face. Sharon recognized her immediately. It was Jacob's new wife. The woman approached Sharon, her heels clicking against the pavement. "So, you're the famous pancake seller," she said with a sneer. "Jacob told me about you." Sharon's heart pounded in her chest. What did this woman wanted? "What do you want?" Sharon asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The woman looked her up and down. "I came to see what kind of life Jacob left behind. Honestly, I don't see how he ever managed to live with someone like you." Sharon clenched her fist. "Jacob made his choice. I'm doing just fine without him." The woman laughed. "Oh, I know. I've heard all about your little friend, Mr. Emmanuel. You think he's going to save you? Let me give you some advice. Men like him don't marry women like you." With that, she turned and walked away, leaving Sharon standing there, shaken and unsure of what to think. Was she right? Could Mr. Emmanuel really care about someone like her, or was it all too good to be true? Sharon couldn't shake off the cruel words of Jacob's new wife. They echoed in her mind as she laid in bed that night, staring at the ceiling. Men like him don't marry women like you. Could it be true? Was she fooling herself, thinking that someone as kind and wealthy as Mr. Emmanuel would want to be with her? After all, she was just a poor pancake seller, and he was a successful businessman. The next morning, as she prepared her stall, Sharon found herself feeling nervous. What if Mr. Emmanuel's kindness was just a pity? What if she was just a charity case to him? When Mr. Emmanuel arrived, as he always did, with a warm smile and ready to chat, Sharon couldn't hide the doubt on her face. "Sharon, is everything okay?" he asked, his voice full of concern. She hesitated, but then the words split out. "Why are you helping me? I'm just a poor woman with 3 children struggling to survive. Why would someone like you care about someone like me?" Mr. Emmanuel's smile faded, and he looked deeply into Sharon's eyes. "Sharon, you are not just a poor woman to me. You're strong, kind, and an incredible mother. I see the way you care for your children, the way you work hard every day to make sure they have a good life. That's why I care, not because of your money or your status, not because of who you are." Sharon felt tears welling up in her eyes. No one had ever spoken to her like that before, but still the doubt lingered. She wasn't ready to let her guards down just yet. "I need to think," she whispered. Mr. Emmanuel nodded. "Take all the time you need. I'll always be here." As the days went by, Sharon tried to focus on her work and children. The business was doing better than ever, thanks to the new ingredients, and she was earning more money than she had ever imagined. But no matter how busy she was, her thoughts kept drifting back to Mr. Emmanuel. Her children adored him. They would ask every day, "When is Uncle Emmanuel coming back?" They loved the little gifts he brought and the way he always cared for them. One evening, as they sat around the small wooden table eating dinner, Sarah, the middle child, looked up at Sharon with wide eyes. "Mama, do you think Uncle Emmanuel will be our new dad?" Sharon nearly dropped her fork. "What do you mean, Sarah?" she asked, her voice shaky. "Well," Sarah said, swinging her legs under the chair, "he's so nice to us. He's always there, and he makes us smile. And you, Mama, I like it when you smile." Sharon didn't know what to say. The thought of marrying Mr. Emmanuel had crossed her mind, but she had been too afraid to believe it could happen. Could he really want to be part of her family? We don't know that. That night, after the children were asleep, Sharon sat by the window looking out at the stars. She thought about all the pain she had gone through. Jacob leaving her, struggling to raise 3 children on her own. She had always thought she would never find love again, but now, for the first time in years, she felt a tiny spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, we're starting to change. Few days later, Mr. Emmanuel showed up at the market as usual, but this time he had a different look on his face. He seemed nervous, almost shy as he approached Sharon's stall. I was wondering," he said, clearing his throat, "if you and your children would like to come to my house for dinner this weekend. I'd love to get to know them better, and I thought it would be nice for all of us to spend some time together." Sharon's heart skipped a bit. Dinner at his house. It felt like a big step, one that she wasn't sure she was ready for. But when she saw the hopeful look in his eyes, she couldn't say no. "I think we would like that," she said softly. The following Saturday, Sharon dressed her children in her best clothes. They were all excited, especially Mark, the oldest, who couldn't wait to see where Mr. Mark lived. When they arrived at Mr. Emmanuel's house, Sharon was amazed. It was huge, with tall gates and beautiful garden. She felt out of place, standing there in her simple dress, but Mr. Emmanuel welcomed them with open arms. Dinner was delicious, and the children had a wonderful time. Mr. Emmanuel played with them, told them stories, and made them laugh until their berries hurt. Sharon watched from aside, her heart swelling with gratitude and something more hope, maybe even love. After dinner, as the children played in the garden, Mr. Emmanuel and Sharon sat on the porch watching them. The air was cool and peaceful. For the first time in a long time, Sharon felt truly contented. "Sharon, Mr. Emmanuel said quietly. I know I've been patient, but I can't keep my feelings to myself any longer. I care about you deeply. I don't just want to help you with your business. I want to be part of your life. I want to be part of your children's life. Will you give me that chance? Sharon's heart raced. Could she finally let herself believe in happiness? Could she trust him after all the hurt she had been through? Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. Yes, she whispered, her voice breaking. Yes, I will. From that day, Sharon agreed to let Mr. Emmanuel into her life. Things began to change quickly. Mr. Emmanuel was no longer just a kind man buying pancakes. He became a central part of her family. He would often come to her house to help with children, bringing books for Mark, toys for Sarah, and candy blankets for baby Ruth. Sharon felt like she was living a dream, but it was real. Her life was truly changing. One evening, after a long day at the market, Sharon sat down with Mr. Emmanuel at the table in her small living room. The children had already gone to bed, their soft snore filling the house. I've been thinking, Mr. Emmanuel began, taking Sharon's hand in his. You've come so far with the pancake business and it's doing great, but I believe you can do more. What if we open a real pancake shop right in the heart of Kampala? I'll help with everything, finding the place, setting it up, even hiring staff. Sharon's eyes widened. A real shop? She had never dared to dream that big. Do you think I can do it? She asked, her voice small. I know you can, Mr. Emmanuel said, squeezing her hand. You're strong and smarter than you realize, Sharon. You've built this business from nothing. I'm just here to support you. Sharon felt tears of gratitude praying in her eyes. She had never imagined that someone would believe in her this much. She nodded, determination filling her heart. Let's do it, she said, a smile spreading across her face. Let's open that shop.